that prediction effectively came to pass because 20,000, as much as 20,000, and that was offered, was given to voters in Edo State. Some got 5,000, some got 20,000. So it was, that was bad. And this is not what we want to see, because when politicians give that much money to people to secure their votes, it amounts to weaponizing poverty.
Yeah.
And that's not what we want to see. But the election has been keenly fought so far, and I didn't expect anything less than that. The stakes were high for the two parties. As far as I'm concerned, it's a true horse race. I said that yesterday. I didn't see the Labour Party making any impact.
That's surprising. I mean, many thought the...
It's no surprise.
Many thought the Olumide Akpata factor...
No. This is not NBA politics, for God's sake. This is not NBA politics. And some of what happened, you see, no two elections are ever going to be the same. Some of the factors that were at play in 2023 were not there in this election. People were simply voting for Peter Obi. Take Peter Obi out of the PDP, I mean the Labour Party. Labour Party is like a shell.
Flat.
Without Peter Obi, Labour Party is an exaggerated nothingness. So if anyone felt that, that momentum has since died down, it may not be pleasing to the ears of people who hate the truth, but that is the truth. I said it here yesterday. That was where I sat. That it's not going to be a three-horse race. Brian Shita asked me, I said, no, it won't be a three-horse race. It will be a two-horse race. And that's what we've seen. You can imagine the Labour Party candidates scoring just 98 in an entire local government.
381.
An entire local, 98 votes. So, I also said that the election will be decided. The election is like a referendum on Obaseki. The people felt, Obaseki had not performed, had not lived up to their expectation, had not played his politics the right way. They would reject his candidate. So at the end of the day, the outcome of this election will be decided by how the people feel about their incumbent governor. If they felt their incumbent governor was someone who didn't perform, who was simply fighting everybody, they will show him by rejecting his candidate. I don't know if his candidate has been rejected. I don't have access to the... Yes, I don't have access to the total votes that his candidate scored. But I know that if the people were not convinced about Obaseki's leadership, they will say that boldly in terms of the quantum of votes that they give to his candidate. I recall that Obaseki said, look, the people of Edo State do not like a godfather. That in their politics they have all the idea of godfatherism. If indeed the people of Edo State do not like godfathers, do not want to see godfathers have a free reign in Edo State, then his candidate will be rejected so that he doesn't become a godfather. So there are many issues that this election will resolve. And before our eyes, we'll see.
Vicky, voter turnout. Are you impressed? No. No.
as I said yesterday, sometimes our people just decide that, well, since the government have not been good to them, it affects the way they pay their taxes, it affects the way they get involved in something that is a national duty, like this one. If the government of the day is popular, you see that people will show greater patriotism, people will show a greater desire to get involved in matters of state. People naturally should be willing to vote, but a lot of Nigerians are disillusioned. They are more concerned about where their next meal will come from than to get themselves busy voting on election day. Apathy, especially on election day, is not peculiar to Nigeria. That's why in the US, they have what is called the get out the vote. This get out the vote is very crucial in determining who wins an election in the US. All parties get volunteers, and they also pay people to be knocking on people's doors to bring out people on election day so that those people can vote. No? So the party that is get out the vote efforts is more tremendous. It's usually the party that wins the election. So apathy is always a problem on election day, and this is not limited to Nigeria. So, and again, it rained yesterday. So that will always affect the outcome of the election. And then delays in taking ballot materials to polling centers has a way of discouraging people. Some of them will turn back home. I mean, if they got there early and you didn't bring ballot materials on time, some of them will be discouraged. They will just go back home. So, but I still think that the outcome, I mean, the turnout was good in some areas.
Okay. All right. Dr. Let me come to you. Results from 16 local government areas have been announced so far. Are you impressed? What were your expectations juxtaposed with what we've seen so far?
Well, I wouldn't say, I mean, from the onset, I had any expectation in terms of who is going to emerge winner. Like Bikoyo said, it was obvious from the onset that this is a match between the APC and PDP. And for me, I also didn't see the candidates of both parties on the ballot. Mm-hmm. Rather, I can see Godwin Obaseki versus Adams Oshiomhole. Unfortunately, in talking about voter apathy and strength, the North has a stronger culture. I'm talking of Edo North, of voting. If you go back in time and you look at what I would describe as mobilization and participation in the electoral process, the North has always had it. And then from the result you can see, you'll see that in places where in the North, the results announced so far is showing that the margin between the APC and PDP is wide. You see that in the South it's so tiny. In one case, I think it's about 50 votes that separated the PDP from the APC. So for me, they need to mobilize against any other election in terms of people coming out. But like Biki also said, it showed not even APC in the other senatorial districts didn't have it. It's in the North, largely. It's in the North. So it shows that perhaps the people in the other districts don't even care so much. But these other ones went out and voted. Though even when you compare the number of registered voters to those who actually came out, it's still a negligible fraction. you know, but at least the north, from what we have seen so far, is better. And Adas Boshomole is from the north. This other man.
So you
The
expected PDP to have
the
understood.
stated deputy governor
Yes,
is
it's also from the north.
So you expected PDP to have understood that dynamic.
It's always been there. And what they should have done also is to say, let me also pull my own people out. If you want to win, you can't afford to sit back.
All right. Gentlemen, let's cross over to Benin City, where our correspondent, Uche Okoro, is standing by to give us some updates. Good afternoon to you, Uche. How are you today? Uche, good afternoon to you. How are you? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you. We're good over here.
All right. Let me first say well done to you. And so at this moment, give us some situation, some updates about what's happening at the Collation Center and Edo State, Benin City and Edo State as a whole.
Right now, the Collation Center has emptied out. It's situated in the INEC headquarters in Benin City, the state capital. That's the state headquarters. It's empty right now. The officials and observers, party agents and representatives and security agents as well have left the venue. Initially, the commission was reluctant to give a specific time that collation would resume. 16 local governments have come in. We're still expecting results from 2 local government areas. The commission, when it announced its recess, was reluctant initially to give a definite time when collation would reconvene. But you know, the people in the hall, journalists and others, protested, thereby forcing the commission's hand to give a time, give 5 p.m. as its projection for collation to continue. Of course, the protest coming from the hall was not didn't come as a surprise, because many persons who are here or who were here at, when collation resumed actually passed the night, haven't been home or haven't left this venue since election ended yesterday. So you can imagine their frustration when INEC attempted to adjourn collation indefinitely. They were already looking at another overnight stay at the commission's headquarters without any information on the way forward. So as the commission has been forced to say 5 p.m., so that's about 3 hours from the time that collation was suspended. So we hope that they would be able to meet up with their new time, with their new timing. A lot of persons have left to freshen up. A lot of persons have left to get something to eat. So we expect the activities to pick up at the Collation Center once again when the 5 p.m. mark arrives. So that's the situation here. We're still monitoring developments. We're expecting results from 2 local government areas, after which collation will go into the final collation of results from all 18 local government areas, and then we would have the final results are declared and a winner returned. So that's the procedure. Right now, this is the 13th and last stage, according to INEC, in the entire election process. They are hoping that what is the last stage will end smoothly without any incidents. We're still here at the INEC headquarters in Benin City.
Let me just ask, what's the situation like now after the drama that was said to have happened in the morning when the governor stormed, quote and unquote, stormed the collation center? How's the atmosphere there now?
The atmosphere is very calm. Yeah, right now the atmosphere is very calm, even though upon my arrival at the Commission's headquarters, there's very high security presence, very high security presence. The vehicles aren't allowed a few meters away from the Commission's headquarters. Vehicles are forced to park a distance away, and everyone continued their journeys on foot, and everyone is also forced to use just one lane of the road, and even that lane of the road has been split into 2. You have soldiers who have formed a perimeter on the side of the road that has been allowed for use by pedestrians. Of course, stern-looking soldiers. They are trying to forestall any situation whereby a large crowd of persons will forcefully gain access to the venue, or unauthorized persons would gain access to the venue. So that's it. As at the time when I arrived, it was raining heavily. But these police officers, these soldiers were standing in the rain, looking very battle ready. So the atmosphere is calm. Security agents seem to be at alert. All the traffic on adjoining roads to this venue is very heavy. Why? Because, like I said, one entire lane of the road where the INEC headquarters is located has been completely cordoned off and taken over by security agencies, while the one left for pedestrian use has been split into two, a perimeter formed by military personnel. So right now the atmosphere is calm. Security agencies are keeping their eyes open, while the political parties, their representatives who were allowed access into this venue have continued the protests in protest against what's going on here at the Collation Center.
Uche Okoro, our correspondent there at the State Collation Center. Thank you so much for this update, and well done once again. Thank you so much. Gentlemen, let's bring this conversation back to the studio. BQ, there were several allegations in the build-up and during the election. One allegation of fake results that were uploaded. For you, what does the law say? How do we address this going forward?
Well, the reason parties have agents is for them to be able to raise an alarm when they suspect that some infraction is about to take place. It's a good thing. The idea of IREV is a good thing, but it is not the final call. It is the results announced at the collation center in the presence of party agents that the courts recognize. The only time when they can use the IREV to validate the result is if there is dispute. They can then say, okay, let us check what was uploaded, like it happened in Adamawa State. There is dispute, they can go back and check what was uploaded, but the IREV is not the holy grail when it comes to our elections. The structure is clear. Returning officers will bring the results, and the results will be read before party agents and then validated right there. That is the structure. The IREV thing, as we have seen, even during the adjudication on the 2023 election, the IREV thing is not the final. It's not the final document. The final document on our elections is the result sheet. The result sheet and what the returning officers bring to the collation center. The returning officers have the final say on the elections that they conducted. Not even the REC in any state can contradict what the returning officer who organized the election in his own local government brings to the collation center. So, for me, we should focus our attention on what transpired at the collation centers. And if any party believes that what was read at the collation center was not the actual results from the polling centers, then they can go to court. That's the...
All right, Dr. Quickly before we move on, how impressed are you about the conduct of the election, how peaceful it turned out? Not forgetting the kinds of conversations that were coming up from some political bigwigs before the election.
Yeah, in terms of violence, it was an anticlimax. No one expected it was going to go without screaming headline today, 35 killed. It's okay. It's good for us. It's better that politicians have now learned that talking, grandstanding, is the soul of politics. It's not about violence. We've seen how bitter the debates in the US was, the last one. And Trump has said he's not going to engage in another one because he got his match. So that's the kind of thing that we want. Let your candidates talk. Let them address the issues. It's not about violence. And I think Edo State did well in terms of that. And then we must also commend the security agencies. DIG Frank Kumba led the security team. And I think based on his experience, he has learned a lot. And he brought it to bear on this. Right. You know, the incident that happened early this morning, the way he handled it, that is with the governor showing up at the collation center. That for me was massive, because someone else would have mismanaged it. Yes. And you know, the governor came with his own people too. And that could have sparked something else. So the security and like
APC supporters were banging on the gate.
Yeah.
They were going to get violent. The governor didn't leave the place. So it's credit to Frank that he got the governor to leave the place. The governor had no business going to the collation center. Had no business at all.
All right, gentlemen. Just as we
you have agents. The job
if you go there yourself.
Go there. Now, after they read their own their results, their agents are at the collation center, listening to the result as read out by INEC officials. What is it?
Okay, how did you feel about that press conference?
It was pointless. It's like trying to take over the job of INEC, you know.
All right. Gentlemen, just as Sochi Okoro says, announcement of results will continue by 5 p.m., so we'll continue to monitor this development. Let's move on quickly. It's Sunday, so let's talk about matters of religion. The umbrella body of Christians in Nigeria, the Christian Association of Nigeria, CAN, has expressed embarrassment over the outrage that has trailed alleged false testimonies by members of the Lord Chosen Charismatic Revival Ministry, led by Pastor Lazarus Moka. The chairman of the Lagos chapter of the association, Bishop Stephen Adegbite, expressed shock that the church allowed the testimonies which he described as fabrications. Bishop Adegbite said God would not work supernatural miracles that way, adding that there were no shortcuts to academic success other than hard work and belief in God. He was referring to a viral video in which a member of the church gave a testimony claiming she received divine assistance during an examination. BKO.
I'm happy that CAN is beginning to get involved in this extremely messy affair. As you can see, this does not do credit to Christianity. It diminishes the faith when people stand in front of the church and roll out fables. These are, you can't believe in this age people will come out with such bare-faced lies and dress bare-faced lies up as a testimony. When you want to do an election, do an examination, you must work hard, prepare very hard for the examination. The notion that God will help you to cheat in an examination, send angels down to give you answers. But she claimed that they asked them questions about capitals of some African countries and that nobody knew the answer, but that an old man emerged from under her apron and then began to
read out
answers. and that the invigilator suspected foul play and pulled up the apron. When they pulled up the apron, the angel disappeared. but that once they dropped the apron, it was back. Come on. This sort of things, even a little boy can't stand before me and will be regaled by barefaced lies without the little boy protesting. And people will shout and clap. We've heard stories from the same church about somebody who said lion waved at her. Lion said bye-bye. Do lions speak the language of human beings? Animals may understand us. You know? You can speak, an animal will understand what you are saying. You know? Based on training. Dogs especially. Yes. They are that intelligent. You know? But it is inconceivable to think that a lion will raise his foreleg, that's his two legs, one of his two legs, and then wave. He did not just wave, he went as far, so the lion went as far as saying bye-bye. Bye-bye. Come on. And the woman will say, oh, people came with AK-47, I disarmed them. I mean, we shouldn't turn Christianity to a joke. Yes, we want people to come to church, but there are other ways by which we can encourage people to attend our churches. Churches can do a lot within the communities where they operate from, where they are located, that would make people to feel like attending such churches, like doing corporate social responsibility, for example, giving people piped water in the area where your church is located, helping people who do not have money to further their education. You know, churches can do a lot, and there's a lot of money at their disposal. They can do a lot to encourage people to come and worship with them. I've seen practically a pastor of Redeemed Church who did this in Akute, and a lot of the children, you know, of the residents of the area, they began to come to the church. He was paying for JAMB, paying exam fees for NECO and for WAEC. So, based on his good conduct, those children were encouraged to be going to the church. And the number of church members swelled. So, by your conduct, by your exemplary conduct, you can actually encourage people to take to your faith, to begin to attend your church. It is not by people standing in front of the church and reeling out barefaced lies, dressing up barefaced lies as testimony, and even lying against God, lying against the Spirit in the process. I've been told that lying against the Holy Spirit is the worst sin that anyone can. Yes, is the worst sin that anybody can commit, worse than even fornication. How do you do that? So, CAN and PFN, they are supposed to be regulators of the faith. They can't fold their arms and watch some of the things that are happening continuing. There was a pastor who said he was taking people to heaven, and he collected money from them. In this our country, there was buying ticket for them. Nigerians
love miracles, so
yeah,
sometimes we became these pastors.
That's something that is amazing. We love it.
We can't say what exactly these testifiers were trying to achieve, but some of these testimonies sound very exaggerated. But then, are we going to say there are no testimonies that are beyond human comprehension?
No, there are, of course. But then, you must be able to take your testimony from the physical to the spiritual. Sometimes I feel ashamed being a Christian when I watch some of these things. One basic fact is this: God will not do for you what you should do yourself.
Okay.
You can't tell God to transport you from here to the next room when you can walk. But if, for instance, you need to go to the island and you don't have money for transport, you can do something. Perhaps pray, or somebody just meets you and says, oh, I've not seen you in a long while, and gives you money. That tallies with your prayer to God for money for that transportation. You are ill, you don't go to the hospital, and you are praying in your house. Definitely what you are waiting for is death. Because God created doctors and nurses for that purpose. So you are not learned. You want to tell me you want to stay in your room without a teacher, nobody to put you through no books, and you want to tell me you have passed WASC or JAM or your UTM. It's strange. Those are not testimonies. But if you don't have money to buy your form, somebody strolls along because of your heart desire and pays for your form. It's a miracle. But people don't like miracles that don't sound outlandish. They don't. Sometimes
esoteric miracle.
You know, sometimes I sit down and I say, God, where is the next, perhaps, where is the next meal going to come from? And then before somebody has sent me some money, I take that as a miracle. Though the person is owing me, but he paid at the right time when I needed that money.
That's God's intervention.
That's God's intervention. It's not man, because he could have delayed it, he could have done it, anything could have happened. There are days that in this Lagos, when I initially came, I would check from my office in Oregon to Dokpemu. But gradually God did something. It moved me from that level to another level. That's transformation, but not for me to say I was in the toilet of an airport and I appeared in France.
Yes.
No, those are not that far. We should take it easy.
Or lion waving at
So that's like the most ridiculous one.
Most ridiculous.
So, gentlemen, we hope can PFN take this warning seriously. Yeah, because some have called them enablers.
Not even after this Jeremiah Fufenyi issue with NAFDA. That's also ridiculous.
Yes, that if you are selling water to people and that they drink the water, they will have twins. And all that. Come on.
All right, let's move on quickly. Tough times, they say, required adoption of novel measures to survive. In this regard, managers have been urged to evaluate the leadership capabilities, organization structure, and systems they are planning to adopt to stay ahead in the face of global disruption. The Director of Current Affairs at TVC Communications, Babajide Kolade-Otitoju, stressed this while delivering a lecture on strategic leadership at a program organized by the Chartered Institute of Management and Leadership held at the Federal University of Agriculture at Abeokuta in Ogun State. Let's share the story by TVC News. Kazim Olawe with you.
For an organization or government to succeed, those at the helm of affairs must be ready to adopt strategic leadership approach and ensure other stakeholders key into the vision and work towards actualizing the shared goal. This was part of the suggestions of the Director of Current Affairs, TVC Communications, Babajide Kolade-Otitoju, at the program of the Chartered Institute of Management and Leadership held at the Federal University of Agriculture at Abeokuta. While delivering lecture on the theme of the program titled Navigating the Future, Strategic Leadership in the Era of Disruption, Babajide Otitoju said leaders must be curious, decisive, listen, communicate, diplomatic, and have foresight. He also wants leaders to develop the mindset and organizational culture that will turn the forces of disruption into catalysts for strategic thinking and creative execution.
Evaluate the type of leadership, capabilities, and organizational structure or systems you need to develop to get ahead and hopefully stay ahead in the face of global disruption. The challenge for you as a leader is to develop the mindset and organizational culture that will turn the forces of disruption into a catalyst for strategic thinking and creative execution.
The national president of the institute, who was represented at the event, also emphasized the need for adoption of strategic leadership in management of companies, institutions, governance, among others.
We look at leadership
from the position of academics, from the position of political, and from the cultural value aspect, including even the religious aspect. Because the combination of all this, it is what can give us what we call a total holistic national development leadership that we need.
In appreciation of their positive roles in the development of their communities and institutions, the Ebumawe of Agoiwoye Abdulrazak Adenugba and the Aragbiji of Iragbiji Abdulrashid Olabomi, represented by Kola Adebayo, the Deputy Vice Chancellor of Development FUNAB, were honored with fellowship awards and inducted as members of the Board of Regents of the Institute. The Vice Chancellor of the Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta, Olushola Kehinde, who was represented by the Deputy Vice Chancellor Academics, Olukayode Akinyemi, was also honored for his exemplary leadership style and commitment to national development. Kazim Olowe, TVC News, Abeokuta.
You were one of the keynote speakers at that event. Beyond what the report could cover, what were your major takeaways from that event when it comes to strategic leadership phenomenon?
Actually, I was the sole speaker, lecturer at the event, and when I look at what's going on in our world, some of the changes that have happened in my profession, I came to the conclusion that, look, we live in a very disruptive environment, and disruption is not the kind of disruption that we are talking about. It's not in the negative sense. Some of those disruptions are necessary for our world to get better. For example, the internet is the greatest invention since light. It has made our world better. It has created job opportunities for so many people. You can imagine those who, like Jume and the rest of them now, without the internet, they will not exist. With your phone, your smartphone, you are able to do deals. You are able to buy whatever you want. It will be brought to you thanks to the internet. And the fact that we have internet-enabled phones. Journalism was not practiced in this way some years back. Print journalism has been so badly affected by the advent of the internet. But we cannot say because of that disruption is negative. What newspapers have done, the big newspapers in our country, Punch and the rest of them, is to simply foresee the future and take steps to survive in that disruptive environment.
Digital.
They simply went digital, and they are doing very well. In fact, some of those newspapers are outperforming TV stations in terms of their digital penetration. Yeah. If they are simply relaxed and say, the internet has come to kill us, what do we do? Because today, the print runs of newspapers have gone down drastically. There was a time in this country that some newspapers were doing as much as 400, 500,000 per day.
1 million, Sunday Times.
1 million. You know?
Sunday Times.
But look at us today. If a newspaper does 10,000 per day, they will be very happy. It is that bad. Yeah. But they found a way around it. That's why I'm saying strategic leaders must always be able to foresee the future and come up with plans that will enable the organization to navigate that future. Once your strategic plan is good enough and implemented seamlessly, you will then be the master of the future, the master of that disruptive environment. So we must be inventive. We must be constantly thinking. Leaders must constantly think. You know, I was telling people that today's children, for example, the way we were raised is not the way they've been raised. Some of the things that you say to me, for example, that I can take on the chin, if you probably say it to my son, he will not, in fact, he may even stop having anything to do with you. Because today's children are so self-entitled that they don't even want to be corrected. They don't want to be corrected. They get angry. So, and where as a leader you have a lot of Gen Zs, a lot of young people, you also must bear in mind the fact that the way they want to be talked to is different. So you have to, yes, you have to be patient with them. You have to flow with them. You know, you can still get the best out of them. Not by shouting at them, calling them idiots and all that. No, no, no. You call them idiots, they will, maybe the next day they won't even come to work. They are gone. So a leader must constantly think, look at his environment and see how he can make the most of the opportunities available and rally people towards that common goal of making the organization a much better place than they met it.
All right, Dotun, you've heard BK, but from your own point of view, how do leaders cope in the face of this global disruption?
You have said it all. You must know your environment. You must know those who work for you. Like you live in the same house. If you don't understand how to bring the best out of them, then you are going to lose them. Some people wonder why some companies are able to retain staff for so long.
Yes.
Whereas in some others, they just keep going. You know, it's just in and out. So that's the difference. Difference is in how the leader manages the team.
All right. Gentlemen, let's move on quickly. Excuse me. More support has continued to pour in for the victims of Maiduguri flood in Borno State. In the latest of donations to the victims, a former parliamentary liaison officer to former President Olusegun Obasanjo, Kashim Imam, began provision of cooked meals to a large number of people displaced by the flood that submerged more than half of Maiduguri, the state capital. Imam, who is also a former chairman of the Board of Trustees of the Tertiary Education Trust Fund, says the gesture became imperative in order to protect many residents who have been thrown into discomfort as a result of the devastating flood. Also, the son of the president, Seyi Tinubu, mobilized 50 medical personnel to provide medical support services to victims of the flood disaster. He said the 50 medical personnel drawn from the northeast states have been deployed to assist the overstretched medical team in the state. Let's hear the story by TVC News. Jesse Tafida with you.
Seyi Tinubu, alongside his brother Yinka, friends and associates, make their way into the government house, Maiduguri. They are here to commiserate with government and people of the state over the devastating flood that has displaced tens of thousands. According to Seyi, his visit is also to contribute his quota towards cushioning the hardship caused by the flood on people of the state. He reveals that 50 medical personnel from across the northeast states have already been deployed to assist in catering the healthcare needs of victims, in addition to donation of non-food items to over 50,000 people.
But as members of a collective effort of young Nigerians to bring hope and relief to those who need it the most. This is a moment for solidarity, compassion, and immediate action. Maiduguri and Borno have rich histories and people who are incredibly resilient, especially concerning the challenges faced in the past few years. This is why when such a painful national tragedy occurred, it deserves our collective efforts, support, prayer, and even more active collaboration and contribution.
Governor Babagana Zulum is pleased with the visit and assured of judicious utilization of the gesture.
Let me most importantly commend the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, your father, for the visit that he had to Maiduguri a few days ago, purposely to commiserate with us. He cut his journey short and then come back to Nigeria purposely to commiserate with us. People of Borno State have sincerely acknowledged.
From the government house, Sheikh, together with his team, also paid a sympathy visit to the Sheikh of Borno, Abubakar Ibn Umar Garbe Al-Kanami. There, he assured of more support to the government and people of the state. Jesse Tafida, TVC News, Maiduguri.
Gentlemen, these are gestures that must not go unnoticed, especially because they are private citizens. Right, Vicky?
Yes. I think Sheyi has done something marvelous. I'm surprised that it's not trending. There's no positive news. It's not trending in our country. Our people are too gripped by negativity to praise this young man for what he has done. Perhaps the hatred for his father has been transferred to him. It's significant to mobilize your friends to donate 500 million, to relieve efforts, and to bring doctors to come and assist people. Because, look, we need to put ourselves in the position that these people have found themselves. We know what people are going through. People are still missing. Families are still looking for their loved ones. People have lost everything that they had. They don't know where their next meals will come from. So we have to appreciate the son of the president, Sheyi Tinubu, and Kashim Imam, who has been feeding people. My friend, Mustafa Modu, who had a life-threatening ailment, survived, decided that since it has pleased God to ensure that his house is not affected by the flood, he will continue to feed people. I saw videos, but because he didn't give me the permission to, I saw videos of food that they have cooked. Even when they were cooking it, they shot videos, and they are distributing this food to the needy. Governor Zulum needs all the help that we can give him at this time. I'm even wondering how he's coping, what's going through his head.
Mental health.
Because you are facing insecurity, the result of Boko Haram insurgency, and then this problem came. Already, he has a lot to deal with by way of IDPs. Now more IDPs have been created. I mean, by something that...
Natural disaster.
Yes. So it's terrible. He must have lost weight in the last few weeks because, no, this is just terrible.
Sleepless nights.
The scale of this disaster, until one goes there, one will not be able to tell the story. And bridges have been cut into two. People can't move from one end of the city to another. Some people have been cut off because the rains damage the bridges linking communities together. It's just terrible, but we have to praise those who have jumped in to try and help the people of Borno State. The governor of Bauchi, who even drafted his own relief workers, they should leave Bauchi State and go straight to that place to go and offer help. He also deserves our praise, and all the other people who have come in to give them some money.
Doctor, it's one thing to have money. It's another thing to use your money to, help the poor and the needy. How was your reaction to this?
Well, I'm happy. I've always known Kashim Imam as a philanthropist in his own small way. He's one of the few people I came to know who went into politics already rich. They didn't go there to look for a means for survival. They went there to offer service. And that, for me, is something to keep looking out for. Not people who have, whose only job is politicking. You know, these are people who have a second address, who do businesses and who have large hearts. So, thumbs up to Kashimi, ma'am.
And we want to see more
him
of this from other philanthropists as well.
Yeah. More people should join in because but no tragedy is not over yet. We've not had the last of it.
All right, gentlemen. That's where we draw the curtain on today's program. Dr. Oladipo, thank you so much for your insights on the program.
Thank you for having me.
IKO, thank you so much for always. Thank you for watching, everyone. That's all on Journalist Hangout on Sunday. Join us tomorrow for the regular episode of the program at 5 p.m. You can watch the repeat broadcast of this episode tonight at 11:30. We are on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I am Olajumoke Olatunji. Bye for now, and God bless Nigeria.
Stay ahead with the biggest news stories. Go beyond the news headlines. Experience impactful investigations. Enjoy resourceful news coverage in real time. TVC News at 7 and TVC News at 10 p.m. Live every day on this channel. TVC News. First with breaking news.
I'm Miriam Lunge. I'm a passionate environment advocate and a published author.
I am the founder of Celebration, a businesswoman, and a fashion icon.
I am a wealth coach and a real estate developer.
I am Amako Arakwe. I'm a corporate commercial lawyer and an entrepreneur.
Barkamu da warhaka. I am Ramatu Shehu Oyibo, an entrepreneur and a business coach.
I am the voice of an average Muslim woman, an hijabite, and a lawyer.
I am a polymath and a serial entrepreneur.
I am Murayo Afolabi Brown, Managing Director, TVC Entertainment. I'm a media consultant, producer, and broadcaster.
The ladies of your view are made of women from different professions, tribes, cultures, and religion. Join us every Monday to Friday as we share our views on topical and social issues.